And tonight's theme is structure and balance. So I thought, after what for some of you will have been quite a long break since your last yoga class, and you may be feeling a little bit stiff, is just to spend some time reconnecting to the body and rediscovering, becoming aware again of which areas are free, which areas are tight, what we're working on, how our structure is currently, and the balance within the physical structure. And then also take that into some balancing postures and have a little look at what we mean by balance in the breath. So we're going to just sit with the spine upright, either on a chair or on the mat. If you're on the mat, it's often necessary to lift the pelvis significantly with a yoga block or two in order to find that sense of a really effortlessly upright spine. So we're just trying to avoid this classic, even if it's just a slight rounding of the back. This is no longer neutral. If you don't have your lumbar curve present here, then you don't bring the whole of the weight of the upper body right over the center of the pelvis, which is what the neutral spine does. Neutral spine being a spine which has the three natural curves present. And ideally, we just want the head stacked over the heart stacked over the pelvis. And then your posture feels a lot more structurally sound, which kind of is in keeping with tonight's theme. So you might make a few adjustments to your position. You might just play with that a little bit. Often the head is held too far forward, and you might feel like you're just going to slightly draw the chin in, not overdoing it, not like a sort of Sergeant Major double chin, but just feeling that you're creating space in the back of the neck and bringing that crown of the head, shifting it back a little until it feels like it's right over the center of the body. And the wonderful feeling you get in the head when you have the head in this very central, balanced, structurally integrated position is that it feels really light, even though it weighs many kilos, really heavy object supported by the neck and the most delicate parts of the spine. So if we want to keep these shoulder and neck muscles released so that they can do their job they're meant to do, which is to move the head around, we need the head in that balanced position. Otherwise, those muscles become very tight as they do a different role, which is to hold your head in a slightly unhelpful plane in gravity. So having said that, just drawing the shoulders back and down, thinking about that center line from the crown of the head down through the center of the body to the center of the pelvis, and either down to the chair or down to the floor. If you're happy to close your eyes, close your eyes. If you'd rather keep the eyes open, just have a soft gaze forward and down. Allow your breath to be in its own natural rhythm for a few moments more. And take this little bit of space to really acknowledge everything that is going on in your body. And that could be things that you know about, any injuries or stiffness, or maybe you get a little bit of lower back pain now and then, or the shoulder feels tight compared with the other one. You know, it's very rare for anybody to be absolutely perfectly balanced in their posture and have nothing going on in the muscular skeletal system. So it's about acknowledging where we are in our physical body, and then from that understanding, moving into space and ease and softening through our yoga practice. Then begin to cultivate the breath. We're going to use a simple counted technique. So unless you have a blocked nose, we'll be doing all our breathing in and out through the nose. So again, keeping the eyes closed if you're happy to do that. And as you breathe in, just silently counting the length of that inhale. So the number's irrelevant because you can count slowly or quickly, doesn't matter at all, but just try to silently count at a steady rate. And then as you exhale, do the same rhythm, same pace of counting for your out breath. And just be curious about what your breath is doing. So with a theme of balance, you might think that I am looking for you to have an equal inhale and exhale, maybe a 6-6 count for both. But actually, that would be unusual because in our own natural breath, the exhale tends to be just a little bit longer than the inhale. And you may find that being reflected in your count, but try not to let my suggestion influence you. Instead, just be attuned to your own breath and allow it to express itself. Allow it to become a little bit deeper and longer, so the count may go up on inhale or exhale or both. But there's a general sense of the breath settling and slowing into a really easy rhythm of inhale and exhale. Now, we normally talk about tension in terms of muscles or sometimes stiffness around joints, but that tension can be there in the breath. And it is partly affected by what is going on with our breathing muscles during inhale. And the real escape from the tension in the breath, the opportunity, is there on the exhale, because on the exhale, you're not going to use any of your breathing muscles. You simply let the exhale go. And it's for that reason, the reason that the breath comes out of the body in that very effortless way, is why it's a little bit slower than the inhale generally. So let's just enjoy 2 or 3 more breaths at your own pace. And now that you know how your breath is tonight, just let go of the count and do these last few breaths, maintaining the same fullness, rhythm, depth, texture, quality of your breath, but no longer quantifying it, no longer forcing it into that structure of a number. And then at the end of the next exhale, still allow your eyes to blink open if you've been working with them closed, and let your arms hang down. This is whether you're in a chair or on the floor. I'm going to do these first few practices from the chair, and you can too if you want to, or you can do them from your mat. So a little bit of shoulder releasing first. We're going to breathe in and take the shoulders forwards and up. And we're going to breathe out and take the shoulders back and down. And we're going to just try to maintain the same rhythm, smoothness, depth of breath that we found in that initial breathing practice throughout the rest of the class. And if at any time you notice the breath has just slipped into a contraction or become a little bit uneven, just reconnect with that in your own time. The movement we're doing is very much forward and up and down, and just letting the arms hang. So we're not doing an awful lot with the arms. What we are doing is moving the whole of what's called the shoulder girdle. So the shoulder blade at the back, the collarbone at the front, particularly where that collarbone is jointed to the top of your sternum. That whole structure, very big structure, that then leads onto and provides the joint for the rest of the arm and the hand to attach to. That great big joint is just kind of sitting on the back of the rib cage and coming around the front of the top of the rib cage with the collarbone. And it's just sitting in a matrix of connective tissue, soft tissue, and muscles. And so any tension in this area is going to restrict the movement of your shoulders and have a great big impact on how freely you can move your arm in space. So we need to start here. So we're checking out the structure of the shoulder joint, of the shoulder girdle, to see whether we have got a full range of movement there and whether it is tension free. And if it's full of tension, that is really common and fine. Second practice, just give the arms a shake. Every time we release, we're trying to think about allowing the shoulders and the arms to feel heavy. So letting gravity help us to take the shoulders on this journey, which is both down towards the floor, but also back a little. So we don't, if the shoulders are coming forwards, which tends to be associated with them coming up as well, we're doing two things. We're doing down and back and just dropping the shoulders and the shoulder blades down towards the floor. So this time we're going to breathe in and lift the shoulders, and almost like a tortoise, feel like you're sucking your head down into the body, so your neck has almost disappeared. That's an inhale. And then as you exhale, you're going to relax the shoulders down and feel like you're taking the crown of the head up. So we're just exaggerating the thing we don't want, followed by the thing we do want. We want this space and release. But lifting and tensing a little on the inhale, relaxing and lengthening on the out breath is an effective way just to experience that feeling of moving a tense area into space. So let's take the palms out now and just work a little bit more on this joint of the arm, which is called the glenohumeral joint. It's where the humerus of the upper arm joins the glenoid cavity of the end of that structure we were just mobilizing. So if we put our fingertips here and rotate the shoulders, we can make a big movement into that joint. And we'll just start with a fairly contained circle, because what we want to do first is just notice the structure here. Is the joint feeling good? Is it feeling soft? Is there any inflammation there? Or maybe you know you have the beginnings of a little bit of arthritis, or maybe you've recovered from a frozen shoulder, or you've had shoulder injuries in the past, and there's a residue there of scar tissue. So without being judgmental, just exploring right shoulder, compare it to the left shoulder. And if it's pain-free, and keep it pain-free, just begin to extend the circumference of these circles. Breathing in as you lift and open the chest, and breathing out as the elbows come back and down. And let's just make this last circle our final one. Give the arms a little shake, let them hang. And then this is much better if you've got a willing partner after class to give you a little bit of a shoulder massage. But in the absence of that, right now, we're just going to do a little bit ourselves. So we're going to use the heel of the hand and the fingers just to squeeze and release the muscles from the base of the neck just out towards the shoulder, just around about 3 squeezes, working from the neck towards the shoulder, and then 3 more squeezes coming back. So when you squeeze a muscle and release it, you put a bit of tension into that muscle through the squeeze, or what massage therapists would call a palpation movement there. And as you release it, you're helping that shoulder to release a little bit. And if you just move the shoulders, you may even feel the difference between the one you've just done. Okay, let's do the same on the other. Because you've got so many nerve endings in your hands and your fingertips, often that sense of, are my shoulders tight or not, that message can be reinforced through what you feel. You know, does these muscles and tissue, do they feel soft and giving, or do they feel really, really hard and unyielding, which indicates that there's some real chronic tension there that's going to take probably a little while to release. And the key to that is often what we talked about at the beginning, about just getting that head back into a really good position all day long, remembering to drop the shoulders, and then doing the body work and the yoga practices to release it. So a real shouldery start to the class. We're going to do one more. If you can comfortably take the arm up into the air, then do. But if you can only get it here, that's absolutely fine. If you can only get it here, just going to take the hand on the back of the head. If you can get it all the way up, you're going to bend the elbow and take the fingertips down. So as if you're trying to reach that space just at the base of the back of the neck. And if you're really flexible, and I've noticed people who do a lot of swimming, do a lot of crawl, that seems to maintain wonderful range of movement in the shoulders. If you've got a lot of range of movement there, you might even find your fingertips are reaching down between the shoulder blades at the back of the body. And then the other hand can come up, and we're going to do a little bit of coaxing. So there's some muscles here, the triceps, latissimus dorsi. There's some connective tissue here that can get really, really tight from a lot of keeping the arms in this position, keeping them here, typing, steering, everything is in and down and forward. And this can feel like an alien movement to the body. So we need this movement for range of movement. You need to release the tightness here. So it's as if you're stretching your armpit. There isn't really a muscle that goes from here to here. It's a lot of different interconnecting muscles. And we're just drawing that elbow back, opening the shoulder. And if you look from the side, you know, some of you may be here, some of you may be here. If you're getting your upper arm level with your ear, even just behind it, that's a really good amount of flexibility to have. So on the next inhale, we'll reach both arms up, and as you exhale, release them down and give the shoulders another little circle. And again, just see whether you can feel the side you've just worked, whether that feels a little bit different to the side you've yet to work. So the other arm going up, left arm for me. If you've done the other one first, it really doesn't matter. Bending the elbow anywhere that's comfortable, no pain at all allowed in the shoulder joint. You must work with this structure in a very sort of mindful and compassionate way if you have tension or discomfort or any of the conditions that I mentioned earlier. So use that right hand now to open up this left armpit, the other armpit. Feel the stretch all the way down the upper arm, down through the armpit, down through the side of the body. Very nice. And again, you might be able to sense whether this side is more open than the other. And again, just gauging where the arm is in relation to the ear can give you an indication of where you are. And again, it's really common for the two sides to be quite different. So another lift and roll, another shake out the arms. The shoulders should be feeling hopefully a little bit more released now than they were. We're just going to reach behind, and if it's comfortable for you, take hold of the hands and stretch the arms away. If you can't quite reach the arms comfortably, just stretch the arms back like this and think about rolling the shoulders back and reaching back and bringing the two shoulder blades at the back of the body towards each other. So at the front of the body, you might be feeling that as a stretch through these pectoralis muscles, the pecs here, if they're tight. And you're also feeling that there's a big space, big open space here at the front of the chest to breathe into. Very nice. And again, just shaking out. So we're just going to do a couple more from seated or in the chair, and then we'll come down onto the mat. So with the palms together, as you breathe in, you're going to draw the arms away from you. And this is all about the shoulders here. So if the shoulders are tight, you get this kind of very mechanical movement, and the shoulders can go up. But we're feeling that the shoulders are drawing the arms apart. So it's that movement of the shoulder blades going back and round that draws the arms apart. And then the shoulder blades come forward. They're sliding backwards and forwards across the back ribs. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And then release the arms down, give them a shake. Take the arms just a little way away from the body with the palms facing upwards. And as you breathe in, floating the arms up, you just keep, if you're watching the camera, just keeping an eye on my shoulders. So I'm really resisting the temptation to raise the shoulders at all. At the end of the inhale, turn the palms and release the arms down. So if you start to feel, when you get usually just about beyond horizontal, if you start to feel that happening, shoulders coming up, then consciously draw them down and don't go much higher, but you might find as you draw the shoulder blades down that the arms can go up. And to me, the visual image that's always helped me, which I got from one of my teachers, was a bit like a crane with the concrete block just behind the cabin from the crane operator. Well, the concrete block is the shoulder blade and the arm of the crane is the arm. And so think of your shoulder blades as being heavy like the concrete block. So they sink down as the crane comes up. And exhale, release. And just once more with this one, because it's really a really good way of training the shoulders to remain soft and neutral as we use the arms. And then give the arms a shake. So we're just going to take a little side stretch now. So breathing in, taking the right arm up into the air. Left hand can just hang, or you might want to hold the edge of the chair if you're on a chair. And then breathing out, coming into a side stretch. Breathing in, just coming back up to vertical. And then breathing out, going back over on the same side, and just exaggerating that stretch a little bit more. Inhale back to center. And the final one, even a little bit further if you can, reaching and stretching. When you're ready to breathe in, coming up, turn the palm and exhale. Release the arm down. So same on the other side. Inhale, arm up. Exhale, side stretch. Inhale, arm up. Exhale, side stretch. Inhale, reaching up, and for the last time, exhale and stretch. And breathing in, coming up, and breathing out, release the arm down. So we're going to come down onto the mat. If anyone needs to remain in a chair and do the whole practice in a chair, I'm always happy to offer instruction for that. So, you know, something happens to you, or if just somebody needs to work in that way, just let me know, just unmute. Otherwise, I'm going to assume we're all coming down onto the mat, but we will use the chair a little bit now and then to support some of the posture work we're going to do. So for those of you who've been working with me for a while, you'll know that as we come down to the mat, I'm really keen for you to have enough support under the back of the head, which could be a yoga block or a cushion or a blanket. You may need more than one prop just to get the head high enough so the forehead is level with or higher than the chin. So a real feeling that the back of the neck is being lengthened. And I know I do labour this point, but that position of the head held forward of the spine, which we've talked about a lot already, and that movement of drawing everything back. If you don't support the head, you're kind of undoing that intention and going back into the pattern that we're trying to remove and bring that balance back into our structure. So if in doubt, go a little bit high. It's absolutely fine to have the forehead a little bit higher than the chin. That will stretch out the back of the neck, but you don't want the chin higher than the forehead and the back of the neck in that crunched position. So bring the knees in, hold the back of the thighs or the shins. We're just going to take a little rock from side to side. And as we use the rocking motion to ease out the back, just notice how your back is feeling. If you do have any back issues, keep those in the forefront of your mind and try to use the practice to really help with that. And we're just rolling the head the opposite way to the knees, and you can make that movement as exaggerated as you can, as long as it's soft and free. So don't force the head round. But this is a really good place to mobilize the neck, because there's no pressure, no weight of the head going down into those delicate intervertebral discs in the neck. Okay, and then we're coming back to center, and we're just going to do a little bit of drawing the knees in as we breathe out. And again, if you're more flexible, if the knees are coming in quite a long way, you can interlace the hands around the shin, or you can use a belt, or you can hold the back of the thigh. And as you exhale, use the arms, bend the elbows and squeeze the thighs in. And you'll just feel the tailbone lifting off the mat here. And this is stretching out the lower back on the exhale. As we go into inhale, just let the back flatten. And as we go into exhale, draw the knees in. Inhale, arms straighten. Exhale, knees coming in. Just let the left foot come down now and keep hold of the right leg and do a little bit of ankle mobilization here. So we're rotating the toes. We're trying to make as big a circles as we can. And I'm trying to involve my toes in this as much as possible. So as I circle down, I'm scrunching the toes under as if they're trying to pick something up. And as I circle the foot up, I'm pulling the toes back and trying to spread them. So we've talked about this in past classes, about the fact you've got such a large number of joints and bones and muscles in the foot compared with what takes place higher up the leg. And keeping the foot supple, keeping the structure of the foot and the arches in particular in good condition is absolutely vital for balance and for maintaining a way of moving that is both graceful and balanced. So we'll finish with the ankle for now. What we'll do is slide the left leg away. So now you've got the left leg straight, the right knee in over the chest. And again, just working the same way, exhaling, drawing the thigh in. I'm holding the back of the thigh here, but you could hold the shin. And you can come in just as far as your flexibility allows, as long as you don't have any hip conditions, hip replacement, anything like that. And of course, it needs to be comfortable. So if you do have anything going on in the hip, just work within your pain-free range of motion. And on the next exhale, we'll just let that right foot come back down, and we'll bring in the left, and we'll just do a little bit of rotating with the left ankle, working the toes, working the foot. And why my big toe joint wants to click on every rotation on this side, I don't know. You may have a clicky foot as well. And then exhaling, just drawing that thigh in. And if it was okay for you to slide the right leg straight, then take the slide the leg straight on the other side, then take the right leg straight, and exhaling, working into that hip. So we'll be doing a little bit of a lunge later on. You'll know that I'm a big fan of lunges, and we're kind of doing one here. If I just put my foot like that, you just have to take a photo of me and rotate it 180 degrees and I'd be in a lunge. So this is opening up a lot of similar structures in the hips, working a lot of similar muscles to the lunge, but it's doing it out of gravity, so it's less intense. It's a good way of preparing for a slightly deeper lunge. Okay, let's take that left leg down, slide that leg straight, give the legs a little bounce, rock the pelvis from side to side, and then bring both knees in over the chest. And this time we're going to place the hands flat on the mat, and just coming back to those shoulders, can we draw the shoulders back, slide them down away from the ears, and feel that the back of the shoulder blades are really pressing down into the mat to give us lots of support as we slowly circle the knees. So I'm keeping both knees together at this point. And as I circle the knees, I can feel the weight shifting around the back of the pelvis. I'm just going to let you explore this movement, because you can stick with really small circles and get a lot of benefit. You can feel the weight of the body working its way around the sacroiliac joint at the back of the pelvis, and that area also has a lot of muscles. There's a lot of subtle movements, and you're working on that. But some of you may find you can go a little bit wider with those circles, and you'll begin to feel this area of the body, the lower abdominal area, some deep muscles beginning to engage in order to support the upper body as these quite heavy structures of the leg are moving in and then away from the body. So this is a little bit of a core strengthener. And then just do one circle around in the other direction, come back to center, take one hand on each knee, and now we'll separate the knees and do my favorite hip opener, which is simply circling the knees in opposite directions. This is a practice you'll all be familiar with, just like a kind of breaststroke swimming action with the arms. And with each rotation, trying to find that little bit of increase in range of movement in the hips. And again, noticing if the hips feel the same, maybe one's a little bit tight, or there's a little bit of discomfort, or maybe discomfort in both, in which case, just some discomfort is inevitable when we work on the body, and you just have to distinguish that. As soon as you move into pain, you need to back out, otherwise the body is just going to react and tense. So let's do a few of these around in the other direction. And then next time the knees come together, we'll take the feet down, we'll slide the legs away, and we'll just let them relax for a moment. So let the legs roll outwards. That's also a movement at the hip joint, a feeling that the top of the thigh moves around to the outside, that the feet can roll out, there's no tension in the knees. Relax the arms beside the body. It's like we're going into our relaxation early, but we're not doing that. What we will do here before we do the next one is just, as we breathe in, clench and tighten all the muscles around the back of the hips. Feel the glutes going hard, feel the pelvis rise slightly, and as you breathe out, let that area soften. And we're going to do that 2 or 3 times just to switch off any unwanted chronic tension in any of the muscles there. It's usually one of the deeper glutes, like gluteus minimus or medius or piriformis muscle, that can get a little bit tight in the hips, and tensing and relaxing them can help switch that off. Okay, now we're back, everything is soft again, but on inhale we're going to take the arms up into the air, and if you can, you're taking the arms all the way overhead, and at the same time those feet going from an outward roll to rolling in, toes pointing up, heels pushing away, toes pulling back. A great big long stretch at the end of the inhale, and then as you exhale, long exhale, bring the arms back, let the legs roll out. So trying to find a contrast between a lot of tension and stretch and effort on the in-breath, and then a rapid switch into softness on the out-breath. Because it's quite a big movement in the arms, it invites you to take this long, slow breath to give yourself the time to do the stretch. If you're struggling a bit with the breath, just take 2 inhales to get into the position and 2 inhales and exhales to get out of the position. If that doesn't make sense, what I mean is inhale, exhale, inhale, there you are. Exhale, inhale, exhale, softness. Okay, and then when you finish the next one, we'll make that the last one, and we'll just come back into the knees bent, feet flat on the floor, and we're going to extend the arms out at shoulder height or just a little bit lower than the shoulders. Maybe just have a play with that. So you often see students in class coming into the supine twist, and as the arm goes up, it goes a little bit higher than the shoulders, and the shoulder comes up towards the ear, and everything begins to tighten here. And the shoulders are really the foundation for the twist. You're going to move the legs, and the shoulder has to hold everything steady. So we want these shoulders back and down, arms just level or even a little bit lower. Head is central. Glue the knees and feet together, and exhaling, take the knees over to the right and roll the head to look along the left arm. We're doing this with the breath. Each inhale coming back to center. Exhale, knees are going left, head is going to the right. So just continue with that, moving in and out of the twist with your own breath. If you have a lot of flexibility in your spine and you feel you could go a little bit further, you can work with the knees coming in a little bit more in over the chest, feet off the ground. That does make it a lot stronger on the lower back. So if you've got any lower back issues, keep the feet on the floor. That is going to be ample twist. And if you're really, really worried about the back, then just separate the feet slightly, and that will give you a little bit less twist. So the next time your knees go to the left, make that the last one. Got one more stretch to do from lying on our back. We're going to use a belt for this. If you haven't got a yoga belt, you can use a tie or a belt or anything else. If you haven't got anything handy, you can just use your hands today on the back of the thigh, and maybe have a belt for next week. So if you've got a belt, take it around the foot. And we've been doing, those of you who've been practicing with me for a while, we've been doing this stretch a lot because it's so effective. So the left foot is staying bent and the foot flat on the floor, and that enables the back of the pelvis to remain really level and well connected to the mat behind you. As we breathe in, we're going to draw this knee in towards the ribs, and then as we breathe out, we're going to straighten the leg, and the belt is going to help us pull the foot back so that the stretch is in the calf and the Achilles, as well as from the knee down to the base of the hips here, the sit bones, which is that hamstring muscle, which is so often tight. So we're going to do that several times. Inhale and exhale. And we're using the in-breath to switch off the stretch, and we're using the out-breath to take the stretch. We know that during an exhale, the mechanisms of the nervous system can help to quieten down tension in the muscle and really assist with deepening stretches. in a way that if we tried to stretch on an inhale, it would be a little bit less effective. So round about now at the end of the next exhale, when you're in the stretched position, we are going to hold the stretch and use the belt to support the leg so that the leg doesn't get tired. And just finding a really good stretch for you where you can breathe steadily. The muscle either in the lower leg or the upper leg, these muscles are not stressed, they're not shaking. But at the same time, they have got some tension in them, the stretch is happening. So you're just working in that zone where you can develop your flexibility with awareness, with mindfulness. And then on the next inhale, let the knee come in and bring in the other knee and let the left foot take over the belt and the right foot comes down, and we do the same on the left side. Inhaling, knee coming in, exhaling, straightening the leg, taking the stretch. Each time we do this, keeping those shoulders back and down, not undoing any of the good work we've already done in releasing the shoulders. Let the breath guide the movement. Feel as if the leg is being breathed into the stretch on that exhale. And the inhale is breathing in, releasing the leg from the stretch. And the next time you exhale, coming into holding the stretch, steadying the breath, finding that sweet spot for you tonight within the structure of your body. And it's really, really easy when we've had a bit of a break from yoga to want to cling on to maybe some of the flexibility we felt we had a while ago, but just let that go. Nothing you've done has been wasted, and it's absolutely fine. And we just rediscover that flexibility, and it makes it more fun that it isn't such a linear process. And then on the next inhale, releasing the belt, bending the knee, and then slide both legs away and give the legs a little bounce up and down and rock the pelvis from side to side. So we're going to bend the knees now and come onto our side, and I'm going to do just a little bit of cat and dog and a lunge, and then come up and do a couple of standing poses, including our main balance for tonight. So I'm going to show you the cat and the dog using the chair, but some of you might just want to do it in the regular way. If you're doing it in the regular way, make sure the hands are not directly under the shoulders but are in front of it, and do make sure you pad the knees. And if you want to use the chair, it's an excellent way of taking weight away from the wrists and the shoulders if you have any issues there. We're just going to use the cat in tonight's class as a general kind of spinal check-in as to where we're feeling the stiffness in our spine, where we're feeling the mobility. And as I've said before, the lower back and the neck are the most mobile parts of the spine in terms of this movement in and out of forward and backward bend. And so you're bound to feel a little bit more movement there. So what's really important is what happens in between. What is happening from the base of the neck down to the start of your lower back, and can you make that area feel like it's moving and participating in this whole spine movement? That's great. And then just sitting back on the heels for a moment. Give the shoulders a shrug, give the wrists a little shake, particularly if you've been doing the cat on the floor. So we're going to come into downward dog. I'm a big fan of using the chair for this as well, but I'm going to show you the mat version for those who want it. We're going to do the breath, we can do 4 breaths to get in and out of the dog, and we'll do that twice. And then for those of you who want to hold the downward dog, you can then hold the downward dog for a number of breaths until we come up to standing. So just to show you the 4 breath sequence, so from the cat position, you're going to breathe in and tuck the toes. You're going to breathe out, head down, hips up. You're going to breathe in and lengthen and stretch the spine, and breathe out, take the knees down and untuck. So if you don't want to have weight in the shoulders or wrists, either can just be personal preference, or it could be something actually going on. We do exactly the same thing using the back of the chair. Breathing in, breathing out, stretching the hips away from you. Inhale, holding the posture, putting yet more length into the spine, and then exhale, coming out and releasing. So just continue with that, either working from the mat or from the floor, until you find yourself in the held position of the downward dog. And if you're on the mat, you're just going to hold that for as long as is right for you, which might only be a couple of breaths, or it could be a little bit longer. And then if you're still working and you're on the mat, then release down, take pose of the child. And if you've been using the back of the chair, you can just gently come up to standing. And then those who've been taking a little bit of rest on the mat, if you want to come up to standing. So you might have the chair just at the end of the mat. If you like using it, we will use it possibly again in the balance. But if you need it at any time, it's right there. So we're going to have the feet hip width apart. Just going to give those shoulders another re-release. Such a mobile area of the body that when we do a little bit of weight bearing, tension creeps back into the muscles there. So you just have to keep remembering and getting into that habit. Oh yeah, I've just used my shoulders carrying something heavy. Heavy shopping back from the supermarket is the worst. I've got absolutely no qualms about wheeling my trolley down to Waitrose and Ely these days. So re-release the shoulders, that's the message. As we're standing here, just begin to lift the toes, activating the feet. So all toes are lifting off the mat, and if you can, spreading the toes. And as you look down, see if you can create a little bit of space between each toe. And then exhaling, release the toes down, shift the weight forward slightly. You might just feel the lower abdominals drawing in naturally here. If not, just draw in. You'll feel the pelvic floor lifting slightly. And you're just going to hover the heels about 1 centimeter off the mat. And you can feel that activating all the way up the legs. If you tap the front of the thighs, the quads are engaged, hamstrings are engaged, tap the back of the hips, the glutes are engaged. At the front, the core is engaged. So balancing postures are absolutely fabulous. We're not just working on balance, we are working on the whole structure and key structures and muscles to do with and related to good posture and avoidance of musculoskeletal issues. Exhale, take the heels down, keep these arms relaxed, lift the toes once more, spread them. This could be homework. Lots of toe lifting. You can just do it at any time of the day, standing around, washing up, waiting for the kettle to boil. It's still flip-flop weather, sandal weather. So keep the feet out of going into their winter hibernation as long as possible. And exhale, toes down, tip the weight forward slightly, just hover the heels, maybe 2 centimeters this time, if that is feeling good. So the feet need to be awakened enough, our balance needs to be steady enough, our core needs to be switching on automatically enough to make this kind of very simple balance pretty effortless. So if you find you're losing your balance at this stage, then these simple practices are what you need to work on. Let's bring in the arms. So as we sweep the arms away by rolling the shoulders back, sweep the arms up, we're going to let the heels come up, and then we're going to draw the palms down through the midline and release the hands down. And again, sweeping the arms up, lifting the heels. You can come as high as you want with those heels now. 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters, as high as you want. It's only on the in-breath that we're coming up into the balance. And on the exhale that we're releasing back down. And last one, inhale, reach up. And exhale, release. So we're going to do the heron as our main balance, and as usual we'll work into it in a very simple way, and you'll just find the version of heron that's going to work for you tonight, up to and including holding it as a static posture. But just remember, when you hold a balance standing on one leg statically just with your breath, that is quite a tricky thing to do, and if it's not a great evening for you to balance, grab hold of the chair or just stick with the dynamic version. So first of all, as the arms come up, you're just bending the knee and lifting the heel. Arms come down as you breathe out, back on both feet. Inhale, bend the other knee, lift that heel. Exhale, down. So this should be simple for everybody. Exhale, and yet you can feel the feet working. You can feel the subtle weight shifting as the pelvis moves from side to side to accommodate the shift in gravity from being in the space between two legs to being over one standing leg and then over the other standing leg. So just begin to extend that, come right up so the tip of the toe is touching the mat only. Exhale down. Tip of the toe only. Exhale down. If all is well, you're in a safe space, you haven't got socks on, you're not on a slippery floor, you can begin to lift the leg. Balances tend to work much, much better with bare feet. And I often come off my mat and go onto something like this wooden floor here for that extra sense of stability. You know, even a little spongy mat can slightly throw you off. I'm going to stay on my mat today just to stay in shot. So we're going to carry on working with this balance just for a little bit longer, for about another minute or two, and it's going to be up to you. You can continue with this simple dynamic balance, or if you want to, you can move into a held version, and you just choose whether you want to hold that for 2 breaths, 3 breaths, 4 breaths. I wouldn't recommend any more than 5. And you don't want to compromise the quality of the breath. So it's still the same steady flowing in, flowing out, even though you're holding quite a challenging position. The competitive side of you is telling you to move into the held static balance, and the realistic side of you is saying, it's only week 1, it's the new term, you haven't done yoga for ages, just stick with the dynamic one, build it up slowly, there's no rush. And then the next time you have done an equal amount on both legs, just release down and just take a moment to see how you feel. You may well feel that the feet are really, really well connected down to the earth through the mat, because we've done a lot of awakening of the feet. through that practice. Maybe the legs, you can feel it activated, the core. You may just feel, I hope, that the whole kind of physical structure of your body is feeling quite integrated and well oiled, well engineered, and some of the wrinkles, some of the rust that we might have been feeling has begun to come away. So we're gonna finish our physical practice and come down to a closing posture in a minute. But the last one we're going to do is just a little bit of hip opening and coming into a soft but dynamic version of Warrior Two. So I'd like to place your hands on the top of the pelvis, and this is to help you feel that the pelvis is not going to move. And you're separating the feet until you are approximately creating a triangle shape between the pelvis and the feet. So kind of inside leg measurement is approximately how wide the feet would be. It really depends what's going on the inside of your thighs, and whether in this position you can really keep the weight of the body evenly distributed over the whole of the sole of the feet, and you don't want to feel like you're collapsing onto the inside of the feet. So we can do something to help that. You can feel as if you're pulling up your kneecaps slightly, engaging the quads, and then trying to rotate these thighs in an outward direction. And just that sense of rotating the thighs outward feels as if it's creating space in the front of the groin, and it sends a little bit of spiral energy down the legs to the feet. And you may feel that your toes are gripping a little more actively now, and you can really feel that weight distributing itself very, very equally along the soles of both feet. So this is the feeling we want in the feet of the straight leg of what will be the back leg. So we're going to keep all of this going on in the left leg. We're just going to allow the right knee to bend, and we're going to turn the knee out. We're going to turn the thigh out, and we're going to turn the foot out, but only about 70 degrees. And we're going to just check that we've got good alignment by leaning and having a little peer over the bent knee. Check that the knee hasn't gone beyond the ankle, and that the middle of the kneecap is lining up with the second toe of the foot. You do not want that knee to be pointing at the big toe or inside the foot. And then just see if you can bend and straighten that knee. And everything should feel comfortable, everything should feel aligned. And the right knee joint, as you bend and straighten it, should feel like the pressure and the work is even on the inside and the outside of the knee. Come back to central position, hands on hips, and then bring the palms together, gazes forward. And then as you breathe in, you're going to let that right knee bend, and at the same time, you're going to extend the arms out and turn the head to look to the right. And as you exhale, you're going to straighten the leg, turn the head, and bring the palms together. And we're trying to integrate here quite a lot of the things we've done in the class. So I particularly want, as the arms go out, for the shoulders not to come up like this. So it's a real inhale, extend, and the shoulders are coming down. And you're creating that length through the arms from fingertip to fingertip. And the shoulders are just part of that long line of stretch. Exhale, hands together, head to center. 2 more in your own time. Remember to keep that work going in the left leg, outward spiral, leg nice and active, just holding the pelvis in this lovely open position. And then the next time you come to center and that right leg is straight, turn the foot in. Have that feeling again of both legs are active. And now let this right leg be the anchor, soften the knee, open the left hip. Check the alignment, knee over ankle, lunge, knee is not going beyond the ankle, knee and foot are in alignment. And then bring that left leg to straight. Press the palms in front of the heart and inhale, bend the left knee, extend the arms looking left. Inhale to center. Move with your own breath. Keep the shoulders soft. And at the end of the next inhale, palms together, turn that left foot in, just heel and toe the feet together, and then step the legs together, give the arms and legs a little shake. And just take a moment to notice how you feel. Hopefully, again, legs, feet and hips feeling quite activated from that practice. So we're coming into our closing posture. You're going to be using the chair for a little mild inversion with the legs on the seat of the chair, a yoga block under the hips, the head on a blanket. This in a lead class, you know, might be a shoulder stand for some of you, but that is a posture that is far too hazardous to teach over a Zoom format. So I'm encouraging you to do this. It's actually a really effective winding down, settling pose before relaxation, and you still get the benefits of the inversion. So I don't consider it to be, you know, any less than doing a full shoulder stand if that's what you normally do. It's a lot of the benefits with none of the risk. So just let your eyes close here. It's also like a little mini relaxation, and take a moment to notice exactly how you're feeling at this stage of the class. You've done your physical practice. Can you feel the effects of that on your body, perhaps in terms of warmth, a feeling of space in the body, hopefully a feeling of ease in the physical body. And then from here, we'll just make an easy transition to relaxation. Take the feet off the chair, slide the block out. If you're happy to be in the usual straight leg position, take that. If you'd rather keep the knees bent, feet on the floor, knees resting against each other, or if for any other reason you need to lie on your side, any position that's comfortable for you is fine. Don't forget to support the head adequately. Make sure you're going to be warm, dim any lights that are going to annoy you, and make any adjustments to your posture for comfort at any time. So we're going to do a really simple tense and release relaxation, and then close the class with a little bit of breathing. So first of all, if you're lying with the legs straight or any symmetrical position, just imagine the midline of the body from the crown of the head down the spine to the center of the pelvis, and feel as if the arms and legs are arranged equally either side of that midline. That means the head is going to be facing exactly up towards the ceiling with that nice, long, spacious neck. Breath is easy in and out through the nose without any need to control the breath. On the next inhale, without lifting the leg, just feel as if you're tensing the whole of the right leg. You're pulling the toes back, pushing the heel away. Make the leg feel hard and firm as you breathe in. And as you exhale, soften and release the leg and allow it to roll outwards slightly at the hip. And then doing the same with the left leg. On the in-breath, tense the left leg, pull the toes back. Make the leg feel firm and hard. And exhale, allow it to soften. bring your awareness to the pelvis. Breathing in, squeeze and tighten all the muscles around the pelvis, pull up the pelvic floor. Do that as tightly as you can. And as you exhale, soften the pelvis. Release the tension in the pelvic floor. Moving on to the right arm. As you breathe in, just feel as if you're rolling the right shoulder back and down and sliding the right shoulder blade a little bit further down the back, and at the same time just stretch the right arm away, spread the fingers, open the palm, palm facing upwards, and exhale, soften. And same with the left shoulder, wriggle it back and down. Inhale, extend, open the palm, stretch, tense, and exhale, soften. Breathing in, just take an extra deep breath. Feel the rib cage lifting and widening, and keep breathing until you're right at your maximum and you're stretching a little bit the muscles between each of your ribs. And exhale, soften. And then awareness to the face, and just squeeze and tighten, screw up the eyes a little bit, frown, and exhale, soften. Wriggle the jaw from side to side, move the tongue from side to side in the mouth, and then let the face relax, let the jaw relax, and let the tongue lie softly in the mouth. Invite yourself to remain in this space of comfort and ease and stillness for just a little while longer. Noticing all the sensations in your body. Noticing your breath. If the mind wanders off into other thoughts of past or future, just gently bring it back to those two things. What do you sense in your body? What can you witness, observe in your own breath? And now allow your breath to deepen a little, and move your fingers, wriggle your toes, and stretch into your arms and your legs in any way that feels good. And when you're ready, if you've been relaxing with the legs straight, bend the knees, roll onto your right side, and take a breath or two to come back up to sitting. We're going to finish with a short breathing practice. You could do that sitting cross-legged on the mat. I'm on a yoga block, or you could come back onto your chair. Whatever is best for you, just to have that lovely long neutral spine. Please don't try to do your breath in this position. You've got to find that neutral spine, just to avoid undoing some of the work we've done tonight. So for the whole of the past 6 months, I've not been teaching alternate nostril breathing, and that was partly due to the NHS advice at the beginning of the COVID outbreak about not touching the face. But if you know that you've washed your hands since you're last outside, and if you're happy to do so, I'm going to reintroduce some alternate nostril breathing tonight. If you'd rather not place the hands on the face, it's absolutely fine. You can just visualize the flow of breath in each nostril, which is also a very effective practice. So as usual, for those who've been with me for a while, the simple version that we tend to do of alternate nostril breathing is that when we breathe in, we're breathing in through both nostrils and we're just exhaling through alternate nostrils. And because we're only exhaling through one nostril, it's going to help us to effortlessly extend the length of the out breath. And we know that that makes us feel really, really calm. So the simple way to do that is just use an index finger every time you exhale to close the opposite nostril. Or if you're used to using the more traditional yoga mudra of 2 fingers on the center of the forehead, ring finger and thumb, closing and opening, you can do that. And if you're just visualizing it, then just keep the hands down on the thighs. So our eyes are going to be closed or downcast if you prefer to keep them open. And just tune into your breath, breathing in and out through the nose. And we shouldn't need to alter our breath at all. It will simply be the act of inviting that exhale to come out of the body through one nostril that will automatically slow down and allow that exhale to be more spacious. We don't want any strain on the breath at any time, no feeling of being short of breath, so just be aware of that. So at the end of the next inhale, you're just going to close the left nostril and exhale through the right. You're going to inhale through both and close the right nostril and exhale through the left. And we're going to do 3 more rounds. Make the round you're on the last one. Finishing with an exhale through the left nostril. And then release the hand if you've been using it. Keep the eyes closed for a moment longer. Let your breath come back into its natural rhythm, but perhaps notice that sense of balance in the breath from that practice. And also the very strong impact that has on balancing and steadying the mind. And then when you're ready, blinking open the eyes. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. I hope you have a great week and I will see you next week.